Welcome to Type C Tech Reviews. Today we're going to be unboxing the LG 32GQ850-B. If at any point during the video you want to check out this exact same monitor, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. But let's get this thing unboxed. All right, the second normal size monitor from the new UltraGear lineup. I was impressed with the 950-B, but this is a 240 Hz 32-inch, and it just brings that resolution down to 1440p. All right, in the box, we definitely have a smaller power brick than I was expecting for 240 Hertz, so that's nice. We then have a bag in here with user manual, stuff like that. Looks like we also have a calibration sheet. So you can see here is the calibration sheet. Very, very cool. We also have the same stand with this cable management clip that works pretty well. So that'll go on the back of the stand. We've got the other end of that power brick. I believe this is an HDMI 2.1 cable. Very cool. USB Type B to USB Type A. And then we get a DisplayPort cable. All right, now getting into the stand, we've got the base right here. This is using LG's new design elements. It's not a black, it's a gray, and it's totally unique. I really like it. So this is almost black, but it's kind of a bluish gray. It's just off of black. And you would think, okay, this sits flat. It's not quite flat. This actually sits off the desk a little bit, which is very cool. But this overall, same exact stand that you're probably gonna get on the entire new UltraGear lineup. All right, but lifting this off gets us to the panel itself and then the top of the stand, which is right here. So we're gonna get that put together first. And there we go. That's the place for the cable channel to clip into. In fact, we'll do that right now. 3 different spots for the cables to go into, and then you just clip it in just like that. Looks like we got height, rotation, everything with this except no swivel, but that's just LG doesn't like swivel. All right, so to put it together, you line those up, press those in, and this is a nice high quality thumb screw. You can literally just twist this in with your hands. All right, just like that, it's done. Now let's connect it to the monitor. One thing I wish LG would do that Dell and Alienware and everyone else is doing is if they have a clip-in stand, give us a little cutout right here. This one comes from the side, so you do actually have to lift this out before just connecting it to the stand. A little bit annoying and kind of an oversight, but not a problem overall. So we're gonna lift this up by the plastic, and this one is considerably thinner. Yes, definitely thinner than the 950 variant. Okay, so this is the top over here. So we're gonna take this, line up the top right there, and then clip it in, and we're all good to go. So now we're gonna lift this up, and there is the panel. We're gonna put this backwards, check out a little bit of stuff. All right, so this is considerably lighter than the 950, which is incredibly heavy and very thick. You still have that awesome glossy, but also texturized back. It looks incredibly premium. The UltraGear logo there that is kind of that purplized mirrored effect. Then we have a DisplayPort. 2 HDMI 2.1s, I believe. I don't know if that's correct. Watch the full review coming out in a few days. USB Type B, that's the upstream port for those 2 USB Type A's. Then you get your power, and then the headphone jack, which is also the headphone DTS headphone X port, which is also gonna do your mic, not just audio, is right down here. And then I believe there's nothing else on this. You still do get those RGBs along the back here, which definitely do light some stuff up, which is pretty cool. And going over the adjustability, we have height. Now this is a lot easier than the 950, which was incredibly difficult to move just because it was so heavy of a monitor. This one feels really good. Nice tilt. What about full rotation? Maybe not that way, but this way looks like it. So it looks like this way, it will fully go vertical. There you go. A great overall stand, very solid. You can see it's incredibly stable. Overall, great. All right, let's get this thing on the desk. We're gonna go through, do an initial impressions of the menu system, then we're gonna do a gaming test and a ghosting test. I'm excited, let's do it. All right guys, now it's all set up on the desk. It automatically came on, so there we go. I did notice one design element. I don't remember if this was on the 950, but this is gloss under here, and you can actually see it right here. I think this is really, really clean. The amount of refinement that these new UltraGear lineup monitors, it's just awesome. All right, the build quality, the menu system, you can see this looks beautiful, and it actually looks modern, like a new Mercedes or something like that. All right, let's go right into the menu system, and you can see this is one of the issues on the 950 that a lot of people didn't like is the auto source search. I guess it did it right there. Does this have that? I don't know. You can see DisplayPort, you can choose all of them there. All right, right away, this has the ATW coding on it, or whatever they call it. Basically, it just means the color accuracy continues far over to the left and right side. So this panel, like the 950, also has that. But let's get into it. First of all, it looks terrible right off the bat. It's super dim. Let's actually go into the settings. Going into the settings, it's on Gamer 1. Let's just go through the different modes here. Gamer 2, very bright, very bright. FPS, RTS, Vivid, Reader, HDR Effect, sRGB, Calibration 1, Calibration 2. Those are really nice to have. You can calibrate them yourself and actually set it to the monitors, like save it onto the monitor rather than your OS, which is very, very cool, especially if you're gonna be doing color accurate work. That's awesome. All right, now I do wanna say, this is an IPS panel, okay? There is a warm-up period, especially for the colors, so I'm not gonna judge the white tones too heavily, but overall, they look pretty good. We're gonna go into picture adjust. Brightness is at 30%. We're gonna turn this all the way up to 100%, and it's nice and bright. It's beautifully nice and bright. This is a very bright room, and it's nice and bright. Now, I do wanna say right away, this is, again, I don't know if it's the exact same finish, but it's not quite fully matte. It's a very strange finish. It's kind of, if you look at it from this angle and you get the reflection of this light, it's kind of mirrored and it's kind of that matte just hue. So it's kind of glossy, it's kind of matte. I really liked it on the 950. We'll have to see over time in the full review, which is coming in a few days. Subscribe below if you wanna see it. For that, but let's get right into it. All right, so the brightness is up, we got the contrast, sharpness, gamma. Color temperature is just in custom, which is probably the calibration, but the white tones down here, they look very good. They look very accurate just from an eye perspective. If you want the full color accuracy and everything like that, full review. This also has local dimming. I'm expecting it to be just like the 950, which was pretty bad. DFC, we're gonna make sure that's off. And in the 950, the brightness kept changing even with DFC off, and that's because this is on. This smart energy saving. Shout out to everyone in the comments that was telling me that. I feel stupid now that how did I not get that? But yeah, so we're gonna turn that off right away, and that's important. You have different settings or presets for your DTS Headphone X as well. And then we have the hexagon lighting. See if you can get that in the back right there. Can you see that? All right, now we're gonna go through different colors. You can see, changes to different colors. Very, very cool, very, very cool. We're gonna set it to teal, why not? All right, now in game adjust, we have the overclock. So this, I think, actually goes up to, what is it, 258 Hertz or something like that. So we're still at 240 Hertz. We're gonna go into NVIDIA control panel, and yeah, it goes up to 260 Hertz. We are gonna see first in 240 Hertz if this can output, yeah, all the way up to 12 bits of color for HDR, very, very cool. Although I'm not sure, does this have FreeSync Premium Pro, NVIDIA G-Sync? Because this is a G-Sync compatible monitor. So can you do HDR at full refresh rate? I'm not sure. That'll be in the full review. Okay, but being able to output 12 bits of color, that's great. Let's go up to 260 Hertz, see if we still can, and yes, we can. So we're gonna apply that, very good. Now we're at the overclock, 240 Hertz. When it's overclocked, you can adjust the adaptive sync menu. We do have the response time settings. We're gonna test at the end of the video, but right now, that's enough talking. Let's get in game and see how this thing games. All right, guys, 1440p, 240 Hertz, Battlefield 5, because 2042 sucks. HDR is on. All right, guys, hopping in game. This is in HDR right now. We're gaming in HDR. Obviously, 260 Hertz is incredibly smooth, very, very quick. It's pretty, but the HDR definitely does affect the brightness overall. But obviously, there's a lot of settings to go over. The game literally just ended. However, we're gonna switch this in the SDR, because that's probably what you're gonna be setting it in most, although that is literally just a first impression with just having HDR on. We didn't mess with any of the settings, which is probably important, so SDR now. All right, in SDR, beautiful, very white. Now, big difference is I just used the GP 950. The resolution difference, in game, this still looks very clear. It's not quite the absolute picture perfect crispness of a 4K 32-inch panel, and that's what it is. It's picture perfect. This looks damn good. I mean, all of that, very clear. The only real time you're really gonna notice it is with stuff like this. Text right here, weapons and stuff like that, they're still very clear. They just don't have that crispness that a 4K panel has, but you get 240 or 260 Hertz. Is that worth it? It might be if you're a fast-paced gamer. But overall, even though you're getting that high refresh rate, you're still getting a really good resolution, a good PPI, and it's incredibly bright. I mean, this is incredibly bright, incredibly vibrant, and very color accurate. We're absolutely gonna have to test that, but most LG monitors that are pre-calibrated from the factory, they're pretty damn good. I'm assuming we're not gonna have any issues there, but I mean, this panel is absolutely beautiful. It really is. Now, obviously, you're not gonna get incredibly deep blacks in sections where you would kind of see it like here. You're not getting insanely deep blacks. However, the brights, the contrast, the vibrancy, man, this is absolutely stunning. And I will say, these new panels from LG, and even their older panels, but these in specific, I don't know what they're doing because it's still that nano IPS technology. They do have the ATW coating on there. However, they're just absolutely stunning. It just looks so beautiful. And personally, even though in a section like this, where a VA panel would have deep blacks right here, you're not getting those insanely deep blacks, but oh my God, The overall clarity of these newer panels from LG is so good. I 100%, no doubt in my mind, prefer this over Samsung's Neo G7, G8 series, and probably even the QD OLED, just because of how perfect these are in everything except right here, right? You're not gonna get the deep blacks right here. This is where with a VA panel or an OLED, you get those deep blacks. But for the price point, I mean, 260 Hertz, you're getting a high refresh rate panel here that's still big, 32 inches, and it's not a 1080p panel like we're used to seeing. This is a 1440p panel, still at a good price point of about 900 bucks, which is very good. This would probably be the sweet spot if you don't want to spend the massive $1,300 on the 4K variant of this panel. I can tell you right away, the brightness feels basically the same. It's incredibly bright. The HDR is probably going to be better. So for HDR gaming, it's probably going to be better over there. However, again, full review, check that because I can't really tell you anything as my final opinion, but that's just first impressions. Yeah, it's very quick. It's very quick. I love this panel. I think overall, I'm probably going to like this a little bit more because I think the price point, well, it's incredibly attractive, but we have missed one thing. Let's do the ghosting test. Now, I do want to actually look at this really quick. So small text like up here, you can see there's pixelation. From a typical sitting distance about right here, if I'm sitting here, this is clear, fully readable, but yes, there is pixelation. I can see that. It's 32 inches and it's 1440p. However, that allows you to get those higher frame rates, and with the next generation graphics cards, even with the next generation, I doubt that we're gonna be able to do high refresh rate 4K gaming. So this is really that sweet spot. Let's go right into the ghosting test. Right away what I'm seeing is we got a little bit of ghosting. Okay, more than I was expecting with a 240, 260 hertz panel. However, we're gonna go into those response time settings, game adjust down to response time. We're gonna set it to faster. Now we still have some ghosting. Now, there's no pixel overshooting, no inverse ghosting, very low ghosting, but for a panel, an IPS panel from LG that's 240, 260 hertz, it's more ghosting than I was expecting, but again, we're talking none. It was imperceivable to me during gaming. This is still among some of the best, but it's not crystal clear like the 950 was. However, we are gonna take off the overclock and see if that changes it. Okay, so we're gonna pull this down to 240 hertz, and there's still a tiny bit of ghosting. I don't wanna say it's different, it looks different. No, I can't tell. I can't tell. I do wanna say this. I was expecting perfection here. This is not perfection, but it is 1% away from perfection. This is still very good, and this will not affect gameplay at all. So I would say great overall. The 950 was perfect. There was like zero ghosting. It was no different than an OLED to your eyes. This is 1% away from that. So it's still very good. I'm gonna take the camera here and pan with it. So you can see that's what we're looking at. Overall, still very, very good. But overall, this panel, I think it is a very good panel just from gaming on it a little bit. We'll have to test out the HDR experience and then kind of compare the 950 to the 850, which is this one. But overall, I'm incredibly impressed with it. I'm gonna tell you right away, unless there are some problems that stand out to me, this is probably going to be absolutely recommended if you're in the market for a high refresh rate, 32-inch 1440p panel. I mean, it's great. The 950 had zero problems. The only problem I had was the fluctuating brightness, but that was the power saving stupid thing that I should have realized. So that panel literally had no problems at all. But yeah, again, if you want to check it out, there are Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. We're gonna be doing a full review of this where I go over, I test everything, I tell you if you guys should buy it or not, or if you should think about something else. But yes, subscribe for that. It'll be coming in a few days, but this was Type C Tech Reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next video.